Connecticut and Illinois, one win for Romney in Massachusetts. That's what we've been able to project so far. Remember, Barack Obama has already been projected the winner in Georgia. We can't tell on the Republican side yet in Georgia who will be the winner. That's a close race shaping up right now.
Well, let's just talk to the best political team. Any surprises so far?
I think one of the questions, I wouldn't call it a surprise, is that why was John McCain spending all that time in Massachusetts? Mitt Romney has won the state, and as we move on throughout the night, the McCain campaign was confident all week. The question is whether they went overboard in their confidence and spent too much time in Massachusetts and New York that might have been better spent in Georgia, Missouri, Oklahoma.
If Mitt Romney had not won Massachusetts, though, that would have been a slap in the face.
If Mitt Romney had not run Massachusetts, you would be anticipating that John McCain would be running the board tonight. Now, this is so far as it's supposed to go. You have some expectations going in. Romney's supposed to get Massachusetts. McCain was supposed to get Connecticut. So right now we're as expected. But that very contested race in Georgia, the Republican Party in Georgia is not unlike the Republican Party in Missouri. So as we watch Georgia and Missouri, two big winner-take-all Republican states that are going to say a lot about whether McCain comes out of this night with momentum, whether Romney comes back, or whether Romney and Huckabee are sort of fighting, if you will, to be the alternative.
Connecticut is a good win for John McCain. Rudy Giuliani was with him the whole way there. These are voters who valued McCain's experience. They also said he says what he believes. And so it's kind of the theme of the evening of the McCain voters continue along this path of voting for him because of who he is, not necessarily because of what he believes on the issues.
We had 9 states close at 8 o'clock. We only had a handful of projections. All these races are really close on both sides. This was supposed to be the day that the nominations were sealed in both parties. I think the fact that so many races are so close suggests that this race, at least on the Democratic side and probably on the Republican side too, is just going to go on well past Super Tuesday.
Let me echo that, because there are a block of states on the East Coast that 2 weeks ago we would have assumed would have been called at 8 o'clock like that for Hillary Clinton. Massachusetts, yeah, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, they all seem safely, certainly the first 3 all seem safely in her camp by double digits. And now the fact we can't call it suggests there's been a huge tightening of this race, and it does suggest that maybe the rest of the night. We'll have to wait and see what comes in. But it does suggest this is much tighter than anyone would have anticipated 2 weeks ago.
Let's go over to Bill Schneider and Soledad O'Brien crunching some numbers on why John McCain did so well in the state of Connecticut. Soledad?
Yeah, Anderson, and of course you look to the exit polls to try to figure that out. One interesting thing that we've seen again and again, we saw it a moment ago, we were talking about it in the state of Georgia. Negative opinion of President Bush made a big difference in this race.
Among Republicans, that is. Here in Connecticut, Republicans were 50-50 on President Bush. Half of them don't like him. And look at how they voted. If you didn't like President Bush, the majority of them voted for John McCain. McCain does well in state after state among Republicans who are voting for change.
How did he do among conservatives? Because this could be a problem.
This could be a problem among conservatives. Remember, he carried Connecticut. A majority of the voters there are conservative, and McCain and Romney split the conservative vote. McCain narrowly edging out Romney 42-41, with Huckabee only 10%. But it shows that McCain does not dominate that conservative vote at this point. He's splitting it with Mitt Romney.
And it kind of raises an interesting question. Where would that 10% that went to Huckabee, where would that have gone? All right, let's take a look at moderates, which of course have, so far that we've seen, been supporting McCain. Where'd they go in Connecticut?
And they did support McCain in Connecticut. This is why John McCain won Connecticut. 44% of the voters in the Republican primary described themselves as moderate. McCain overwhelmingly dominated the moderate vote in Connecticut. That is what gave him his victory in Connecticut. And you know what? I'm not sure he's thrilled by that, to have won Connecticut, because he won the moderate vote. That's not such a terrific thing for a lot of Republicans.
Yeah, Rush Limbaugh is certainly going to be looking at that. It's like, congratulations, maybe, for him.
Right, exactly.
In a nutshell, while he won, Anderson, back to you.
Soledad, thanks very much. It is remarkable, Barack Obama in the state of Georgia. I know you guys have talked about this before in the last hour, but the growth among white male voters for Barack Obama, they have to be very happy about that tonight.
Oh, they're already sending emails to all of us. They've noticed too.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, they're thrilled because they think that they've improved on the results in South Carolina. And this was very important for Barack Obama if he's going to be a national candidate and appeal beyond the South and beyond the states he could really do a lot of retail politics in. He's running a national race.
And could be at least a snapshot of where the Edwards vote is going. now in a rural southern state.
Okay,
So
well,
that's one of the questions we'll want to watch, see if it carries out in other states.
We've got another projection for that. Let's go to Wolf. Wolf.
Anderson, thanks very much. We're now ready to project that New Jersey on the Republican side will go to John McCain. John McCain will carry New Jersey, an important state for him. 52 delegates at stake. He had a lot of support from most of the Republican establishment in New Jersey, as well as in neighboring New York State, including the former mayor, of New York, Rudy Giuliani. 52 delegates at stake. This is one of those states on the Republican side where the winner takes all. So this is a nice win for John McCain in New Jersey right now. 52 delegates going for him. As we take a look at what's happening on this front so far during this hour, we've projected that John McCain will carry Connecticut, John McCain will carry Illinois, John McCain will carry New Jersey, and Mitt Romney will carry his home state of Massachusetts right now. Let's take a look at the map as we see it right now, and take a look at the delegates that we're estimating, and this number will fluctuate dramatically. Remember, 1,191 delegates are needed to nominate the Republican presidential candidate at their convention in St. Paul. So far, we've projected that McCain gets on this Super Tuesday 79, the 52 in New Jersey, a huge addition for him. Huckabee with 18 and 5 for Mitt Romney, but there are still some significant contests, a lot of significant contests out there right now, so we're going to watch all of this very closely. But an important win. He was expected to win in New Jersey, John McCain. There are a lot of moderate Republicans in this northeastern state, right alongside New York, so it's an important win for him nevertheless. Let's take a look at Georgia right now. 6% of the precincts have now reported, and Mike Huckabee is ahead. He's maintaining that slight advantage over John McCain. 37% for Mike Huckabee, 34% for McCain. Romney with 25%, Ron Paul 3%. If we look at the actual numbers that have come in, remember, these are small percentages, only 6% of the precincts coming in. But if we take a look at the numbers in Georgia coming in right now, 16,500 for Huckabee to 14,893 for McCain, 11,187 for Romney, and Ron Paul with 1,146. And these are the first numbers that are just coming in from New Jersey right now as well on the Democratic side. Let me show you what we have. Less than 1% of the precincts so far reporting in New Jersey. Hillary Clinton was 63% to Barack Obama's 22%. But if we zoom in and take a look at the actual numbers that have come in from New Jersey so far, you can see it's a tiny, tiny number. 1,300 or so for Hillary Clinton, 472 for Barack Obama. New Jersey, an important race. By the way, in the delegate estimates, you can take a look and see right now, we've already allocated 10 of the delegates to Hillary Clinton, 0 for Barack Obama, because all 10 of those are what are called super delegates. These are delegates who are not distributed based on the voting that's happening today in New Jersey. These are elected officials, whether the senators, representatives from New Jersey, or the governor, other high-ranking officials in the Democratic Party. So as a result of that, we've estimated that 10 of those super delegates will go to Hillary Clinton, and we'll see what's going on that front. But the headline right now is that New Jersey, we're projecting, will go for Romney.
And John King, you were pointing out, of course, we're seeing McCain in New Jersey, we're seeing him in the state of Connecticut, but the real test is as we move further west.
Right. I mean, very important for John McCain. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He needs to win the big winner-take-all states up in the Northeast. We're still waiting on New York. He needs New York, getting New Jersey, getting Connecticut. Delaware is also on his map. We're waiting on Delaware. But the question for John McCain is, can he sustain it as the count moves out of the more moderate, some would say even liberal Republican Northeast to the South, and then into the Midwest and out into California. So this is what John McCain needs. But Romney has strength out in the Mountain West. We're going to have a big fight over Georgia and Missouri. So he's off to a good start, but a long way to go.
I want to bring in Bill Bennett in the back row here. Bill, the battle for John McCain moving forward, if he does very well tonight. I mean, there were some very personal attacks against him today. James Dobson on the Laura Ingraham radio show saying, "I'm convinced Senator McCain is not a conservative and in fact has gone out of his way to stick his thumb in the eyes of those who are. He has at times sounded more like a member of the other party. I will not vote for Senator John McCain as a matter of conscience." How does he make inroads among those conservatives?
Well, he's going to CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Committee. me this week, Thursday, he's going to address them. It's a big meeting. It'll get a lot of attention. And he needs to reach out. He needs to say the right things. But he also needs to tell people to look at his record. Frankly, I think these folks, and a lot of them are my best friends, need to move a little forward on their own. There's a kind of Trotskyism going on here, you know, purification of the party. Here's an interesting thing. Connecticut just came in for McCain. 42-41 conservatives for McCain. I didn't know there were conservatives in Connecticut. I'm thrilled to hear it, and I'd love to meet them, really, on some occasion. But could it have something to do with Joe Lieberman's endorsement of McCain in Connecticut? And here's the thing I want people to think about, if they're conservatives particularly. Everybody loves Joe Lieberman on the conservative side. The talk show host can't get enough of Joe Lieberman. Hey, Joe, will you join the Republican Party? If he did, he would be to the left of John McCain. So what exactly is this objection to John McCain, other than he sometimes takes pleasure, you know, in going against the orthodoxy? But I think reality, if he gets the nomination, reality sets in. The Dobson thing was very unfortunate.
It's sort of like you have a conservative checklist. Okay, if you really have a conservative checklist, I think you probably have, let's say if you had 6, 8 points, you probably have 4 you like about McCain, 4 you don't like about McCain. And so this whole notion that somehow he's a liberal, you know, it's crazy. On the issue of life, when I hear James Dobson talk about, you know, this guy is not a conservative, you have to ask yourself the most important question. If you had Senator John McCain running against Senator Hillary Clinton, who do you want appointing justice to the Supreme Court? That is what it made. And I think at some point, Dobson, you would think he would probably say, I probably want McCain making those choices versus Senator Hillary Clinton. I think that they're desperately trying to revive and resuscitate Ronald Reagan. No offense to the former president. He's not Lazarus. He's not coming back. At some point, as a party, they are facing what the Democrats faced in '92. A lot of liberals didn't like Bill Clinton in '92. Southern governor. They felt he was tied to the DLC. But they had to move on from Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale, because at some point, your party does have to grow.
Let's make a quick comment. Ronald Reagan wasn't Ronald Reagan either before he became Ronald Reagan, if you will. And the Ronald Reagan that we now revere did some things which really violated the orthodoxy. I don't want to list them because I won't be able to answer all the mail.
Paul wants you to.
But he did a lot of things that, you know, that you wouldn't have on the checkoff list if you were a conservative.
We're going to take a short break, but before we do, let's go to Wolf Blitzer to look at the latest numbers. Wolf?
Thanks very much, Anderson. I want to show our viewers what's going on right now in some of these states where the polls closed at 8 p.m. Just a little while ago. First of all, on the Democratic side, remember the Democrats are blue, the Republicans are red. Tennessee, let's take a look at Tennessee right now. We have not been able to project a winner. Look at this. Less than 1% of the precincts are actually in. Hillary Clinton so far with 47% to Barack Obama's 44%. Tennessee, an important state right now. Connecticut, let's take a look on the Democratic side to Connecticut right now. 3% of the precincts are actually in. Hillary Clinton with 47% to Barack Obama's 50%. So very close race shaping up potentially, at least right now, with 3% of the precincts in. Let's take a look and walk over to the Republican side, Georgia. First of all, let's take a closer look and see what's going on there in Georgia. The Georgia closed at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we see a 3-man race unfolding in Georgia right now. But we'll show you that shortly. Mike Huckabee still having a slight advantage. Oklahoma. Let's take a look at Oklahoma right now with 41 delegates at stake. 1% of the precincts reporting. McCain with 42%. Huckabee's 30%, Romney's 22%, Ron Paul 4%. Tennessee, let's take a look at Tennessee as well. Tennessee closed at 8 p.m. Eastern. Less than 1% of the vote is in. McCain with 35% to Mitt Romney's 25%, Mike Huckabee's 22%, Ron Paul 6%. Remember, if you take a look at the colors, the dark red is McCain, the light red, almost pink, is Huckabee, sort of the dark brown, if you will, Mitt Romney, and sort of burgundy, if you will, Ron Paul. You can always go to cnnpolitics.com, and you're going to get this precise numbers updated second by second. If you're watching us, a good place to have something good to have on your lap would be your laptop, cnnpolitics.com. It'll walk you through all of these states, all of the numbers coming in real time. We'll take another quick break. We're standing by for more polls to close at the bottom of the hour, the top of the hour. Much more of our coverage coming up from the CNN Election Center. We'll be right back. About 7 minutes to go, 7 minutes and 30 seconds till the polls close in